Isn't it poetic? The ones who thrive in shadows, who twist your reality and wear masks of virtue, they never think the prey will become the hunter. They laugh while spinning their webs, never suspecting that the same thread could strangle them. But here's the irony. They weren't just toying with you. They were setting a stage for their own downfall, because you were never meant to be the victim forever. No, you were armed with everything you needed to rise above the deceitful manipulations of the world around you. The truth is, you were destined for this very moment, and it's time to realize that God armed you to silence the manipulators once and for all. In their arrogance, they believed they could bend your will, make you bend to their desires, wrap you around their little fingers with the flick of their tongues and the promise of something they would never deliver. They thought you were weak. They thought you were just another pawn in their game. But they underestimated something crucial. They didn't count on your strength. They didn't foresee the power that God placed within you, the resilience and the unyielding fire that burns deep inside of you. Because that's the thing about manipulators. They can control so much. They can twist and turn reality so well, but they can never control what's truly inside of you unless you let them. And you know what? You've been given the weapons to fight back, the armor that will shield you from their venomous lies, and the strength to break free from their chains. It's time to embrace the truth that you've been equipped for battle, and not the kind of battle that is fought with physical weapons. No, the battle you're in is far more insidious. It's a battle for your mind and your soul. It's a battle where words are sharper than any sword, where the manipulation of emotions is the true weapon of destruction. And yet in this very battle, God has already armed you with the ultimate defense. The manipulators, they may try to cloud your mind. They may try to drown you in their falsehoods, but you've been given clarity by God, and that clarity will break through the darkness that they try to cast upon you the moment you choose to see the truth. For what it is, you realize that they no longer have power over you. The illusions that once seemed so real begin to shatter before your eyes, and you stand in the light of truth with a renewed sense of purpose. For so long you believed their lies. You second-guessed your worth. You questioned your place in this world, all because they told you who you should be, what you should want, and how you should live. But none of it was ever real. It was all a mirage designed to keep you enslaved to their vision. But now you're awake, and with that awakening comes a responsibility to speak the truth. Even when it's uncomfortable to stand firm in your own power, even when the forces of deceit and manipulation try to knock you down, because you were never meant to shrink into the shadow. You were made to step into the light and show the world what real strength looks like. The manipulators will never understand that their hold over you is gone the moment you stop allowing them to dictate your reality. They thrive on fear. They thrive on confusion. But fear and confusion only exist when you allow them to take root in your mind, and once you realize that their power was nothing more than a mirage. You will no longer be afraid of their empty threats, their empty promises, their false smiles. You will rise above their tactics with a confidence and a peace that cannot be shaken, because you know that you are standing on the solid ground of truth. The truth that God has given you, the truth that cannot be bent or broken by the lies of others. When you realize your own worth, you stop tolerating the manipulative behaviors of others. You stop allowing people to use your emotions against you, to twist your thoughts to make you doubt yourself, because you know that your value is not determined by the opinions of others. It is determined by the Creator, who made you in His image and who has already equipped you with the strength to fight back against every scheme of the enemy. And yes, it will take courage to stand up to the manipulations of the world, because the manipulators don't give up easily. They will try to draw you back into their web. They will try to make you believe that you are nothing without them. But here's the truth. Once you realize that you have been armed by God to silence them, you will never look back. You will never allow their lies to dictate your path again, because you are no longer the prey. You are the hunter. There is power in your silence. There is strength in your refusal to engage in their games. There is victory in your ability to walk away from the chaos they try to create around you, because you know that their tactics can only work if you give them permission to affect your peace and your life. When you silence the manipulators, you take back control of your destiny. And when you take back control of your destiny, you walk in the authority that God has given you to create a life that reflects His purpose and His truth. You are no longer bound to their whims, their lies, their falsehoods. You are free to step into the fullness of who you were always meant to be. But this journey will not be easy. The manipulators will resist your strength. They will resist your newfound confidence, because they know that the moment you embrace your power, they lose theirs. But remember, they cannot fight against what they cannot see. They cannot fight against the authority of God's truth in your life. And that's the key to your victory. They may try to raise their voices. They may try to make you question your path. But when you stand firm in the truth that God has armed you with, you will be unstoppable, because the weapons of manipulation cannot stand against the power of clarity, the power of discernment, the power of God's protection over your life. And when you silence the manipulators, they won't just be silenced in your life. They will be silenced in the world around you, because your very presence will begin to expose their lies, their schemes, and their deceptions to the light of truth. And the world will see them for what they truly are, not the virtuous beings they pretend to be, but the deceitful players they have always been. And in that moment, you will understand the full magnitude of your power and the authority that you have been given to dismantle every falsehood that they have ever tried to spread. It's time to stop running from the manipulators. It's time to stop letting them control your narrative. It's time to rise up and speak the truth, no matter how uncomfortable it may feel, because the truth is your greatest weapon. And the moment you decide to wield it with strength and conviction, there's nothing that can stand against you, nothing that can keep you from walking in the fullness of the life that God has designed for you. So understand this as you move forward in your life. The manipulators will always be there, lurking in the shadows, hoping to ensnare you again with their lies and their traps. But you now know the truth. You now know that you have been armed to silence them once and for all, and you will no longer be their prey. You will no longer allow them to control your life and your reality, because you are the hunter. You are the one who holds the power to expose the darkness and bring the light of truth to every corner of your existence. And in that truth, you will find freedom. And in that freedom, you will find peace. And in that peace, you will find the strength to continue fighting the good fight until every manipulator is silenced for good, and you stand victorious in the life that God has called you to live. This is your moment. This is your time to rise up and claim your power, silence the manipulators once and for all, and walk in the authority that has been given to you to create a life of truth, strength, and freedom. You have been armed for this battle, and with every step you take toward your destiny, you will know that you are never alone. God has equipped you with everything you need to win this fight. So step forward with confidence and let the world see what happens when the prey becomes the hunter, and the hunter walks in the full authority of the Almighty. When you stand in the full authority of the Almighty, you're no longer bound by the opinions or control of others. You are no longer a puppet in the hands of those who would seek to manipulate your thoughts, emotions, or actions. You are, in every sense of the word, free. free to walk the path that was always intended for you, the path that no one else can dictate, the path where God, in His infinite wisdom and power, has already set every stone in place. When you step into this truth, you break free from the chains of doubt, fear, and confusion that the manipulators so carefully laid out before you. You begin to see the world for what it truly is and what it could be, a world where you no longer feel like a victim, but a conqueror. This shift in perception is where your power truly lies. The manipulators, who once held sway over your heart and mind, will find themselves powerless in the face of your newfound strength. For they can only control what they can bend. They can only control what they can twist and distort. But they cannot control the person you have become, the person you are always meant to be. The truth that you have inside of you is untouchable, unshakable, and unstoppable. God has built you for this very moment. The voices that once tried to tear you down now fade into the background. They no longer hold any weight over you because you are standing in the light of truth and you have been equipped for battle. The weapons of your warfare are not carnal, they are spiritual and they are mighty. God has given you discernment. This is your greatest weapon. Discernment allows you to see through the lies, to cut through the fog of manipulation, and to see things as they truly are. It gives you the clarity to make decisions based not on fear or insecurity, but on the truth that is in your heart. It allows you to see the hearts of those around you, to understand their true intentions, and to know when they are speaking lies or when they are speaking truth. No longer will you be blindsided by the words of those who seek to control you. No longer will you be led astray by the promises of people who are only concerned with their own agendas. When you are armed with the gift of discernment, you see clearly, and clarity is power. But discernment alone is not enough. You must also have the strength to act upon it. This is where courage enters the picture. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to move forward in spite of it. The manipulators rely on your fear. They thrive on it. They will try to intimidate you, to make you doubt yourself, to make you believe that standing up to them will result in your downfall. They will use guilt, shame, and threats to keep you in line. But you must remember that fear is nothing more than a tool they use to control you. When you stand firm in the authority that God has given you, when you embrace the truth of who you are and the purpose you are meant to fulfill, fear loses its power. It may still be present, but it will no longer have the grip on your life that it once did. You will choose courage over fear, action over passivity, and strength over weakness. It's not always easy to walk in the truth, especially when the manipulators are so entrenched in your life. They will try to make you doubt the clarity you've received. They will attempt to undermine your confidence, to make you question whether you're making the right choices. But the beauty of standing in the full authority of God is that He has already laid the groundwork for you. He has already provided the strength, the wisdom, and the courage you need to stand firm. He will never leave you, and He will never let you fall. You are not alone in this fight. You are surrounded by His presence, His power, and His guidance every step of the way. When you lean into that, when you place your trust in Him, you will find that you are capable of far more than you ever imagined. In the power of your silence, your refusal to engage in their manipulations becomes even more profound. When you refuse to participate in their games, you send a message that you are no longer interested in playing their way. They will no longer find an audience for their lies. The more you stand firm, the more you refuse to bend, the more they will reveal themselves for who they truly are. The false masks they wear will begin to crack, and the true nature of their manipulation will be exposed for all to see. This is the moment when the balance of power shifts. When you stand in your full authority, you expose the darkness that they've been hiding in, and that exposure is their undoing. When you become the hunter instead of the prey, you no longer run from the truth. You don't shy away from uncomfortable realities. You face them head on. You don't cower at the sight of the manipulator's shadowy tactics. You step directly into that shadow and declare the light of truth. You walk in the knowledge that God has armed you with everything you need to overcome whatever is placed before you. And as you walk, you begin to see the manipulators start to unravel. Their webs of lies begin to collapse. The stories they have told themselves and everyone around them start to lose their power. They can no longer keep you captive because you've stepped out of the cage they created for you. You are no longer subject to their whims, their desires, their emotional traps. You are free. This freedom is not just a state of being. It is a way of living. It is a new way of thinking, of moving, of acting. You become unapologetic in your truth, unafraid to live authentically, to express who you truly are, and to pursue the purpose God has set before you. No longer will you shrink in the face of adversity. No longer will you second-guess yourself. You are a force to be reckoned with, and the manipulators will learn that they are powerless against the strength that comes from knowing who you are and whose you are. And as you step into your full authority, you realize that it's not just about silencing the manipulators in your life. It's about silencing the manipulations of fear, doubt, insecurity, and confusion that may have been planted in your own heart. Sometimes, the most dangerous manipulators are the ones that live inside of us. The voices of self-doubt, the whispers of insecurity, the internal accusations that seek to rob us of our peace and joy. But when you realize that you have been armed by God to silence the manipulators once and for all, you begin to see that this battle is not just external, it's internal as well. You must confront the lies you've believed about yourself. You must expose the toxic beliefs that have kept you from stepping into the fullness of your destiny. And in doing so, you free yourself from the internal chains that have bound you for so long. The power of this realization is not just in its truth, it is in its application. It's in the way that you begin to speak life into every area of your existence. When you start declaring the truth of who you are, who God says you are, and the power you have to overcome, you begin to shape your reality. You begin to create a life that aligns with the truth you now know. No longer will you be at the mercy of the manipulators, whether they are external or internal. You are the one who holds the pen to your story, and you are writing a narrative that reflects the strength, the courage, and the authority of the Almighty. When you step into your full power, the world will begin to notice. The manipulators will no longer have a place at the table of your life. They will no longer hold sway over your decisions, your emotions, or your actions. You have taken back control, and the very nature of your existence will radiate with the confidence that comes from knowing you are aligned with your true purpose. And in that alignment, you will see doors open that you never thought possible, opportunities arise that you could have never imagined, and relationships that are based on truth, mutual respect, and love will begin to flourish. The journey ahead may not always be easy. There will be challenges. There will be moments when the manipulators try to reassert their control. But you will face each challenge with the knowledge that you have been armed with everything you need to succeed. You will face each moment with courage, with wisdom, and with strength. And when you look back on this moment, you will realize that it was in the darkest moments, the moments when the manipulators thought they had won, that you became the hunter, that you became the one who took back your power. And in that power, you found your true freedom. This is your time. This is your moment to step into the fullness of the life you were always meant to live. And nothing, no one, can ever take that away from you. For you have now tapped into a power far greater than anything the manipulators can comprehend. You have moved beyond their reach. The very fabric of their influence, woven so carefully and insidiously around your mind, is now unraveled, thread by thread. You see the lies for what they are, and you know the truth for what it is. The truth that you are always meant for something greater. The truth that you were not created to be controlled, to be a victim in someone else's game. You were created for purpose, for strength, and for victory. And nothing, not a single force on this earth, not a single whisper of the enemy, can steal the truth of who you are from you. You have been armed, and you stand as a warrior, standing tall against every form of manipulation that seeks to bend you. You see, the manipulators rely on your ignorance, your doubts, your insecurities. They exploit your weaknesses, your fears, and your moments of vulnerability. They surround you with confusion, casting shadows of doubt, so that you can no longer see clearly. In their eyes, you are just another pawn in their intricate, self-serving schemes. They don't care for your truth. They don't care for your well-being. They care only for their own needs, their own desires. But now, you see through their games. You understand their strategies. The fog has lifted. Your mind is sharp. And with clarity comes the power to decide whether you will continue to let them manipulate you, or whether you will take back your life and silence their voices once and for all. You have been given the tools. You have been equipped with the courage to confront your fears, the wisdom to discern between truth and falsehood, and the strength to stand in your full authority. You are no longer bound by their expectations. You are no longer shackled by their manipulation. They no longer have a claim over your heart, your mind, or your future. You stand as a free, powerful being made in the image of your Creator, who has already given you everything you need to thrive. But here's the key. It's not enough to simply realize that you have been armed with power. You must take action. You must step into the fullness of that power. The manipulators know how to twist words, to use guilt, shame, and fear as weapons. But when you rise above those tactics, when you stand firm in the truth that you have been given, their weapons lose their potency. The lies they use to control you will no longer affect you. The manipulation will bounce off you like arrows falling to the ground, harmless. Your silence in the face of their chaos is your greatest weapon. Your refusal to be dragged into their toxic games speaks volumes about your strength and your resolve. You see, it's not just the external manipulators you have to deal with. It's also the internal ones, the voices in your head, the ones that whisper that you're not good enough, that you can't achieve what you were meant to do, that you'll never be strong enough to silence the manipulations around you. These internal manipulations are just as powerful, just as insidious as any external ones. They take root in your thoughts, in your heart, and in your soul, whispering lies to you when you're most vulnerable. But here's the truth. The internal manipulator is nothing more than a reflection of the external ones. And just as you've silenced the voices of the manipulators in your life, you can silence the voices within. It's time to confront those lies head on, to recognize them for what they are. Lies. The voice that says you are not enough, that is a lie. The voice that tells you that you will never succeed, that is a lie. The voice that tells you that you are broken, that you cannot overcome what has been done to you, that is a lie. These voices come from the same source as the manipulators who seek to control you. They come from the enemy of your soul, who would rather see you defeated than empowered. But when you take a stand, when you silence the lies within and around you, you reclaim your power. And when you reclaim your power, you take back your future. You take back your destiny. It's time to stop being afraid of your own strength. For too long, you may have feared what would happen if you fully embraced the authority God has given you. You may have worried that standing in your full power would mean alienating people, upsetting the status quo, or rocking the boat. But here's the thing. Your strength, your power, your authenticity, they will never diminish others unless you allow them to. When you walk in the truth of who you are, when you stand tall in the authority that God has placed upon you, it does not take away from anyone else's worth. In fact, it elevates you, and in doing so, it elevates everyone around you. When you walk in truth, you become an example. You become a beacon of light for others to follow. You become the proof that it is possible to break free from manipulation and to live authentically with purpose and strength. Your very presence is a testimony to the power of standing firm in your truth. You inspire others to step into their own power, to rise above the lies and the manipulation, to reclaim what the enemy has stolen from them. And the more you stand in that power, the more you encourage others to do the same. This is the ripple effect of living in the fullness of your authority. It doesn't just affect you, it changes the world around you. But standing in your authority doesn't mean you'll never face challenges. It doesn't mean that the manipulators will simply disappear. No, they will fight to regain their control. They will attempt to undermine you, to bring you back into their webs. But the difference now is that you are no longer susceptible to their tactics. You are no longer afraid of their threats. You understand that their words are empty. You understand that their manipulation only works if you allow it to work, and you no longer allow it. There will be moments when you feel tired. There will be moments when you wonder if it's all worth it, when you question if the fight is worth the pain. But let me remind you, every time you stand firm in the face of manipulation, every time you reject the lies that the world tries to feed you, you are growing stronger. You are becoming the person you were always meant to be. The battle may be hard, but it is a battle that you will win, not because of your own strength, but because of the strength that God has placed in you. His power is limitless, and it flows through you. It is the strength that will carry you through every obstacle, every lie, every attempt at manipulation. And with each victory, you become more and more confident in your ability to silence the manipulations of the world. And here's the final truth. The manipulators, those who have tried to control, to deceive, to bend you to their will eventually realize that their games no longer have any effect on you. They will see that their power has been stripped away. And in that moment, you will not have to lift a finger to expose them. They will expose themselves. Their lies will unravel on their own. Their webs will collapse without any help from you. Your silence, your strength, your refusal to engage in their games will be all the proof the world needs to see that they were never in control. The very fact that you have walked away from their manipulation will be enough to show them that you are no longer their prey. You are the hunter. You have won. You are free. And no one can ever take that away from you. This is your life. This is your moment. This is your time to rise up and take your place among those who walk in their full authority, who walk in the truth of who they are. Stand firm in that truth. Stand firm in that truth. Stand firm in that power. And watch as the world around you begins to change, as the manipulators begin to fall, as your destiny unfolds before you. This is your victory. This is your journey. And with God by your side, there is nothing that can stop you. Nothing. In the end, remember this. You have been armed by God with everything you need to rise above the manipulations, the lies, and the forces that have tried to control you. The power to silence the manipulators lies within you, and with clarity, courage, and unwavering strength, you can step into your full authority. You are no longer the prey, but the hunter. Your truth is your weapon, and it cannot be taken from you. Stand firm in the light of that truth, for it will guide you to the life you were always meant to live. Victory is yours, and nothing in this world can ever take that away.